Hello everyone and welcome back to Loco Shortline Operations. Yep, it's been a while and it's raining. Yeah. The reason we haven't come back this for a while is I've actually been embarking on quite a big project. Myself with the help of Joe, the developer of this brilliant game. We've had Oliver, we've had Stormy in on it. I might have had someone else come in and help at some point. But anyway, the project has been, as you can probably tell from this, we are now standard gauge. That's right. I made the decision to re-gauge the map rather than start again. Because I kind of like the map, but I really wanted to play with standard gauge. So, how about we go and have a look, shall we? So, here we are, standard gauge, and as you can see, we've got our Great Western Railway Trojan in the pink, purple, I'm not sure what colour you want to call it, but it's to celebrate the Queen's Jubilee. Either way, and yeah, I'm really happy to come and show off this. Now, last time I played, the controls were a bit odd. I'm told that they've been adjusted now, so bring up the UI for this. And let's try it out. So, reverser. Yes. That's much better. The controls go where I tell them. Got a bit of pressure, but I'll just throw a little bit of coal in there. We're not going to go far in this. Just want to take it for a short run down the track. And yeah, massive thanks to Oliver, who came and relayed this yard for me. I really didn't fancy doing it. It's not as simple as just take out the narrow gauge track and throw in the standard gauge, because the points are all a different size. So yeah, it takes a bit of lining up to get everything in the right place. And as you can see, there's something over there we are going to go and explore shortly. Ignore the oddly stacked crates and stuff. Yeah, as good as Oliver is at laying yards and track, stacking objects off the train onto the floor isn't his strong suit, unfortunately. Yeah, we're just going to take a ride around here. Looks like that point is set against it. May be able to throw it from here. Come on, come on. There we go. Wait for the little hand to show up. So yeah, the yard layout and everything, pretty much the same as it was before. We took out some crossovers in that reception yard there. Just wasn't needed, really. The idea for them was great and all, but we ended up not using them in the end. So I made the decision to take them out. Throw a little bit more coal in there. Don't want to over steam it, as we're only going down to the crude oil for this run. So again, as I say, most of the layout is going to be familiar to you guys who have watched my older videos on this. We've got a track that runs alongside the main line. which could do with a little finesse in it, not kind of running parallel everywhere, but you know, it's supposed to be more of a branch line railway than a main line, so be double tracked is a quite significant thing for this line anyway. So we've got another set of points set against us up here. We don't want to go on to that line. We want to coast into here. And hopefully that's going to allow me to flick that in time. It has. Brilliant. So just bring that through. Flip it back. And bring our train to a halt. There's one thing I'm very happy to show off with standard gauge. And that is we have the loco logo on one tanker. Of course. Channel logo, TrainswithNick on this one. And this is one of the reasons I really wanted to play with standard gauge. Class 08. Look at that. We've got 3 liveries for these. Excuse the Buckeye coupling on these. It's just how the game is developed. Joe had to standardise on one coupling for everything. We do have vehicles from America, Europe, UK. And so, yeah, the coupling we kind of had standardised, so went for the Buckeye coupling, which doesn't look great on there, but, you know, at least you can buy anything and know it'll work with anything. Apologies about the quick cut there, but I actually didn't realise how close it was on disk space and managed to run out. So, yeah, what we're going to do is we're going to switch this on, first of all, because our tanks are full. Got a full tank here, as you can see. But this tank, come up here, it's barely got anything in it. So we're just going to jump on board this loco, which I believe is up and running. So first step forward. Actually, all we need to do is let off the brake. Okay. That is going to roll through there nicely. Just want to crack on the brakes there. Actually, I'm going to put the brakes on the loco as well. And knock off the reverser. So that can nicely fill up our tank. And while that's filling, we'll just go check points have been set. Don't know why I'm running, because of course this game allows us to do this. So, quick refresh track, it will build all the track for us, and then all we have to do is look at this, say that's set to roll through there. And flip that switch there. That come and go through there onto that left-hand track there. Excellent. So whilst we're here, I'll give us a quick map mode talk through what we've got here. So we've got our reception sidings here. This is going to be the sorting sidings. Not really in use at the moment, it has to be said, because we don't have enough trains running through here. But I am looking at, if we can get enough people together, probably setting up for a regular Friday evening run on here, if enough people are interested. I mean, ideally I want to get at least 3 people and do a Friday evening live stream. Now, whether that over on Twitch or here on YouTube, I've yet to decide. It's just a loose idea. But the idea will be we can run multiple trains, start filling up this yard, and then we can have someone work in this yard permanently, sorting trains, refilling the diesel tank as necessary, or if we're using steam, you can bring your train in, detach, and we've got double-ended access here, and we have our water tower over here, so you'll be able to refill the steam engine. Heading north, we have the Northern Y here. Well, as we're going UK, it's going to be the Northern Triangle. So this map is set up for left-hand running, which is a bit weird, I know, because the narrow gauge we did right-hand running, where we had double track. But we can come all the way up. We've got Winston Bay here, and this is the remnants of the old narrow gauge. You can see where that used to go and where we now go. Straight through. The track has only reached as far as here at the moment, but it's going to roughly follow this line into here. That's a section of the old narrow gauge, how it used to curl in, but we smoothed that out. And anything north of here is to be ignored at the moment. So that's our docks area. Again, this is all remnants of the narrow gauge until we get here. Timber Valley, as you can see, the straight tracks, that is the end of the line currently. So this is set up. So we've got 3 tracks in our station area. And this line comes through. Got a crossover here. And this is our coal mine. Now again, this is a mixture of standard and narrow gauge. So this track here, the 4th one of these dots, is our standard gauge. These 3 are narrow gauge and need to be pulled out. But that is dual track through there, so you can fill up the coal mine. Then we become single track, following our way all the way down the mountain, where we rejoin here, and that leads back to Winston Yard. And then if we follow this track up, full credit to this line, it has to go to Joe. None of us had any input apart from Joe. He came and he relayed all this, and I couldn't be happier. So I think that is now out of use. That was a passing siding. We may reinstate that depending on how many trains we have come up here. Another passing siding there. I think this is one of these is the narrow gauge there. Here, this, again, we're debating. It was the old water tower, so I think we're going to leave that in place as a reminder of the old narrow gauge line. But it's going to be worked by diesel up here, so again, not really necessary to have that water tank in use. This has all been relayed. We've got Don's Hill. This is your coal bypass track. This is regular station drop off. into a balloon loop here. And we need to work out what we're going to do about shed. I will talk to Joe off screen about that, if we can get an asset in, because what I was going to use for the narrow gauge shed, it's listed as a warehouse, actually a bit too narrow to use as a standard gauge. Yeah, that's our track up to the quarry. We've got a loop there. Ignore this on the left. This is all narrow gauge and ends there. I never did work out how to get across, because it doesn't really show here, but there's a mountain here, mountain there. And you kind of have to thread the needle to get a track through. So we'll come over here. Just follow this down. So dual track to here. Here we have a passing line. So if you were coming from spawn area, which is standard goods, lumberyard or anything, and you wanted to go out down to heavy goods, you no longer have to come all the way over to the yard and all the way back. You can just use this track and run down. And also, we've put a Y in so you can actually approach the yard from the other end if need be. Probably won't get used all that often, but it's there just in case. So again, dual track down here. Great shout out. This was myself, Joe and Oliver all worked on this together. Here we have the line started, because we're finally going to be able to use city industrial supplies. Now we're on standard gauge, something we couldn't do before. So we've got our line come down here. This is the wiggly bit. I didn't think we'd get through there with standard gauge. But again, Joe came in, made it work. Much thanks to him. And then heavy goods yard, which hasn't really changed all that much from the narrow gauge layout. There were a bunch of points here. There was going to be sidings. Ultimately decided when we relayed it, standard gauge, they're just not going to be used. You're not going to end up with train loads of flat cars full of heavy goods or anything. So it just wasn't necessary. So we'll whip back up here. So dual track to here. Had to space this out. There's a few trees here that needed bypassing. We'll come along here. Here roughly is the new bridge asset we have. We'll go and have a look at that shortly. We come into our new spawn, which has changed a bit. I decided to simplify it from the old layout. It looked a little bit messy how it was. And you couldn't really use it all that well. I may introduce another set of points here to join on here, and when you come over the bridge, so move that crossover further down. But here we have our turntable where this crosses here. This makes for an easier way of using it. If you get a steam train or class 08, you want it switching the other way around from spawn. It's simple to do now, rather than the old way, which was to run over onto this track, onto a Y, reverse it back out. Such a faff. We come around here, all dual track. This line here, again, roughly following the line Joe laid out. It is a bit janky in sections. This was where I messed up. I tried basically deleting a section of narrow gauge and then linking it with standard gauge, and it doesn't quite work. And that's no fault of the game, it's just how it works. When it tries to curve it, it just doesn't quite get it right. So there's a few points we've got to go and play with. Can't remember why this switchover's there. But got a dual track section. Comes through here. Not sure why we've got this. Gaps in the dots, but it's irrelevant. And then we get down to standard goods, which again, much simplified. Just a loop around. And I removed the connection to this track because this is the one that used to come out to the coastline and run round and into Camden Mill. So the narrow gauge line is still there. I am going to go and rip it all out though. It was a good idea in theory, but the way I'd laid it, we had so many problems with narrow gauge trains stalling out along there. So that's going to be ripped out. Camden Mill will be redesigned so we can run possibly a 20-car train into there and either flip around, put engines on the other end. I don't know. We'll work it out. So that's going to come out. Follow this again. Again, possibly double track. Certainly from Lumberton Flats. And that's going to follow the same route again. Now this is only been laid as far as here. I haven't laid the standard gauge down there yet. So much of it remains the same. Quite a lot of it has been relayed already. As mentioned, there are a few finishing touches and a few changes just to simplify things. So, with all that waffling, let's go jump in the 08 and take it for a run. Right, that can be switched off because that's full. So let's get into the 08. Set the reverser. 20. Just give it a little nick on the old power. Ah yes. Helps if you remove this brake nick. There we go. Let's jump in here. Give it a bit more power just to get it moving. There we go. Our BR Green 08 is off to work. Now, I haven't decided if I want to keep this 08 on here as of yet. Does a good job. And just simple back and forth. But at this stage I wonder if it'd be better utilised elsewhere. And whether to just use the little Trojan as our crude runner. Give it a bit more power. Just a noisy growly beast. I'll give it that. There's compatibility issues with lining up the buffers there, but again, this game is still early access, and I'm sure when we go through little things like that, canon will be tidied up in time. I prefer to look at all the positive things that we have so far. LSO 8 being one of them. Not all the gauges work, but enough work to allow you to run the train accurately. But let's just knock off the regulator. We go over the bumps. May smooth that out, put a little bridge in there. Who knows? Incidentally, while we're just running along, the developer Joe is looking for... Oh. Let's put on the brakes there. Don't know why those wagons are there. They should have been still connected to 08's over there. Give them a little push. Oh dear. Oh dear, oh dear. That's not right. That's very not right. How on earth did the first two make it across? Well, this is a reminder that not everything goes to plan. So we've got a derailment there. It's still on the track there. That is... yeah. I don't know what to say there. How on earth that train all managed to roll down here? Or no, I bet it rolled down there and then I remotely flipped the switches. Okay. Let's do a little bit of a rescue mission here. So, gonna control this remotely. Just so I can keep an eye on what's going on. Let's give it a little tug. I don't want to go too quickly through here. Flip that switch that way. Thankfully, these controllers for the points do not have hitboxes. So when I drag the train through it, it is not going to derail it. Hoping that when I drag this through here, it's going to flip that bogey round and re-rail it. Like so. And then we flip that. We cut the power. Put on some brakes. Put on some brakes, he says. Give it some reversing juice. And we'll bring that train in. So hopefully that gave you a bit of a highlight to the video, if nothing else. Give that a good shunt. And actually, what we should do, just make sure. Okay. Brake. Bring that to a stop there. That's brilliant. Move the brakes from our train here. Switch this on so it can receive fuel. And we'll get our tankers. Come in here, roll over, and refill up on our crude. Wrong end, Nick. Come around here. See, that is going down. Give a shunt to that. And I believe that'll do us nicely. And for now, just cut the power to that loco and leave him there. And that's going to fill up on here. Which in turn will light up our flame. Excellent. So we'll just take a quick wander over to the yard. So as I was talking about before, that's better. Stop wandering your feet around. So we have 5-track reception yard over there, and then we have a 4-track sorting yard over here, and 2 stub end sidings. Of course, you do have to keep 1 track open for running through. In reality, there's only 4 receiving tracks there and 3 sorting here, but I think that'll be sufficient, even when we get a bunch of us working the railway. And there is a yard lead. We come over here. The little yard lead, which ideally this point should always be set towards. Stop anything rolling onto the main. There you go. Departure yard by Sergeant Oliver. And then we have 3 lonely wagons, which at the moment are sitting here, but they will get pressed into use pretty soon. I believe we're going to use these for taking standard goods. So anyway, yeah, that, guys, is a brief look at the standard gauge project I was going to say standard gauge relocation then. I don't know why. Not a relocation project. It's a regauging project into standard gauge. It just allows us to have a look at what is available. And the reason also I stuck with this map is if you want to see large trains hauling large amounts of cargo, Stormy is your man. I can't say anything more than that. Stormy is your man for the large trains. We will go and have a look at his map in action at some point. But for this, it's going to be run more like a branch line project. So 08, Trojan over there. If I can commission it, we are going to have another larger loco than the 08, but I'm not going to go into details with that yet. I've got to talk to the guy who actually produced the 08 and see what the deal is there. But beyond that, I hope you guys have enjoyed this. If you got any thoughts, comments, ideas on the project, or if you'd like to be involved in those live streams and you've got the game, give me a shout. If you'd like to be involved and you haven't got the game, still very reasonable price. Available over on Steam as an early access. Still getting regularly worked on. If you're in the dev build as I am, multiple updates a week, whether it be hot fixes or bigger changes, and usually every week or two that will translate into the standard build. But I realise that I am starting to waffle now, so I'm going to say goodbye on this one. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Bye for now.